Okay, it's recording. Okay. All right. Are you good on your end?
I'm ready, friend.
Okay. All right. We ready to boop?
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Wait 1 second. What the fuck? I gotta get the UI up again. Okay. Three, two, one.
Boop.
Boop. Yes.
What a great boop.
What a great boop! After 2 years,
Uh-huh.
we are finally we are finally back. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of Twin Palms. I believe
Crazy.
it's 6. Crazy. My name is Remnant, and as always, I am joined by my best friend, jAsh. Say hello.
Hello.
It's been a minute, at least for Twin Palms. I feel like not for us, but it's been a while since we have shown anything off with Twin Palms.
Twin Palms is such a summer vibe. How dare us not give them a summer episode?
I know, not us giving them a November. Yeah, like November it'll be at this point. This also comes at a great time too, because actually we just hung out recently. I visited you in Georgia. And so this is kind of like that we're still in our post vacation funk. So this is a nice little stroll that we get to take in Twin Palms to show everyone what we've been working on. We have never shown off this new entrance, which is very different from what we had before. If you guys remember what we had before, it was very it was a lot like more closed in than this. This is a very open style format, but I was using like 90s SeaWorld San Diego references, so that's kind of like where we got these like new ticket boxes from. So this is still work in progress. We have some of the old buildings that you guys have seen before still in there too. We kind of wanted to make sure to leave those in. Gosh, I don't even know if we have shown off this fountain in here.
I can't remember either, friend. If we have, I think it might have only been in like images that were shared on Bro Nation.
Right.
I think. I don't believe it's been in an official episode yet.
Correct.
Also, I'm sick, so if I sound like I'm dying, I am. But I'm very happy to be here.
What a sacrifice. I'm not sick, but I feel like we sound exactly the same right now, so I don't know what my excuse is. Yeah, so this is the new little plaza right after the entrance that we have. Before we did have this fountain. It was very different looking though, and I'm so sorry if I'm repeating this. I honestly don't remember if we have showed this off.
Yeah.
But I do know that there are a lot of differences with a lot of the buildings. The building positions are the same for the most part, but we did change like the color scheme. It just looks a little bit more it looks a little dated. But the paint, the palette has been updated, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
We kind of wanted to, kind of really make it seem like these buildings have just been repainted and that's it. It's so funny because all of these were made a very long time ago. So this is the most that I will ever do when it comes to any sort of art shape or like font art. This is supposed to look like a sailboat on a sunset. Don't know
Beautiful.
if I conveyed that.
I think it looks like that, so.
Okay, perfect. So I just kind of wanted to convey, a little place where you can get your Twin Palms maps, and other info on there. We have a little gift shop on this side, Balboa Island, obviously using the Balboa name for obvious reasons. Yeah, this was also a kind of a fun
Yeah, that looks cool.
little font to create. Maybe we won't zoom in that far. I love this, like,
Yeah,
this motif that you created.
I was just about to say that.
It's literally like the letter B,
Yeah.
but it looks very coral.
Yeah. It's like a cluster of coral.
Yeah. So I love that so much. If we go across over here, we have another little bakery. This bakery was here before, but it was called like Sublime Sweets. Is that what?
Yeah, I think it was Sublime Sweets.
What you named it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is literally the same exact building. I just kind of put a new color scheme on it, and obviously this new name and logo, Broadwell Bakery, also for very obvious reasons.
Yeah.
How is Broadwell doing?
She's good. We're on about version 7 of the entrance plaza, so
the way that's not even an exaggeration.
It's literally not. I mean, I showed it to you. All of them have been great in their own right.
Right.
I mean, I think if anything, this series proves we won't put something out unless we're 100% satisfied with it. So, and I mean, I've teased, variations of it on Bro Nation as well. So people have an idea of what it looks like. It just has not made it to the interweb, the YouTube webs yet. It's coming.
This building has been here since the beginning. Wasn't this like based off of like a Goodwill by your house or something?
Yeah. My old house. That's how long it's been.
Oh my, yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Like so this for us, Twin Palms was like a COVID project.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So so that's crazy. Yeah. So this is that building. I don't think I changed anything about the like actual like architecture of it. I just wanted to add a little bit of like an update to, again, like the color scheme, and I would imagine that they would just kind of put like these cutouts. I don't know like what even material would this would be, probably some sort of metal or
it's like a sheet metal or like a vinyl or something maybe.
This orca was I drew it on my iPad and then I imported it into like onto a billboard in Planet Zoo, and then I just used like some 2D font pieces to make it match the rest, and you'll see like over here kind of make it match the rest of like the art that's already in the game. But yeah, this is Twin Palms Marina Market. We used Ricey's fonts up here, and then we have some of Wyatt's fonts down here, and I think that they go together really well.
I love that I do love that the letters aren't just like flat to the building. They actually cast a shadow on the building, so that's kind of cool. It gives it more depth.
Definitely gives it more depth. And then also like having gift and collectibles like right up on the building, it just looks like it's painted on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, obviously things are unfinished over here. This will progress a little bit deeper into the park. This is a new addition. So before, this was kind of like, I think it was like a fenced off like backstage area. And I decided to just build something off of it that had like the same exact motif as this building next to it, and make it a little ice cream stall. We love
super cute.
A little product placement, dryers. And I really love, like, I don't know, I don't love creating the actual like art shapes and stuff, but I really love putting stuff together like this.
Was this pink before, like at one point in time?
Yeah, I think I did stuff that made it a little bit more colorful, but I decided to kind of dumb it down a little bit.
Yeah, I like this better for sure.
Not going to do a huge tour of like the inside because my interiors, they're not that great, so I'm just going to leave it out here. We have a little seating area here, and it's nice because it has a view of like the
flamingos.
The flamingos down there.
Very cool.
Yeah. If we go over this way, Clearwater Cafe, the interior has been gutted, but the exterior remains this. Actually, no, I changed the exterior also. So It's honestly, this has just been a bunch of like updating. So if you go
Yeah.
and look at screenshots of like the very first Clearwater Cafe, I mean, all of this trellis work is very beefy.
Mhm.
I think what inspired me to do this new trellis work is that we got these mesh pieces, and that just goes to show how long we have not shown off
I know.
any of this stuff, because I changed this right when we got those mesh pieces. So we had those for a while.
That's also the thing with these games. It's like it's hard to not go back and like retouch these buildings, as the game
Right.
progresses and we get better and smaller pieces. So
Right. But yeah, so this was changed, made a new logo. Not sure if I love it anymore, but it's fine for what it is right now.
I love the new logo.
Um,
Feels very 90s.
okay, cool. It does. It's funny because it's like it's new, but it's supposed to look old. And the one that we had before was just, it looked very 2020 with
Yeah.
the only like the pieces that we had. So, it's a nice little change. Going back around over this way, I made these lockers, and I believe these are also like restrooms on the side. This is a reference, like basically completely ripped from SeaWorld San Diego, I believe.
Yeah.
In that reference, like these are restrooms and not lockers, and I really liked this little tiny like
Yeah, I love the
clock tower. I thought that was like one of the cooler parts of it, so I wanted to kind of bring that in here. Don't know if this will even stay here, we don't know, but it's all good. And then bringing us back around over here, we have the rentals, the stroller rental. These were made by Ricey, correct?
Yeah, they look amazing.
Amazing. We were able to we built this area when I visited you recently, so
Yeah.
that was a fun little and that's all we did.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean that's about it for these new buildings here. But one of the really cool things that we've been wanting to show off, and that we've actually had for like quite a while, like under wraps, is what's on the other side of this fountain. And it's similar to what we had before, it's just very updated and it looks way better.
Yeah, I think before we had like these were basically just like covered with I think was it lighter leaders like 2D tarp pieces or something.
No, so before, like, we kind of made our own with like the tarps that were provided in the game, and then we also had like this motif.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Covering
Jeez.
some of them. This is like, so you came up with all of this. I mean, I know that we are going off of SeaWorld San Diego's I think it's called like Explorer something Reef.
Yeah, Explorer's Reef, I think is what it is.
Yeah, so this is Explorer's Cove.
The reboot.
jAsh did a majority of this. I think I just came in and did some landscaping and like this logo over here. Should we talk about this first?
Yeah, I mean, I think that might be one of my favorite parts is just the little hand washing station. This was where kind of like V1 of those like red coral pieces came into play, and then you ended up copying them onto is like just like a graphic onto like the storefront doors and stuff, which I thought was a really, really cool way to kind of tie this stuff together and also add like more uniqueness to those storefronts. But like surprisingly, these awnings were like very easy to make, even for the larger touch pools. It's just 3D font pieces that are just rotated every which way. I think it's like a mix of like the number 8 and O's, just because they gave me like super rounded edges.
Yeah.
But if you have been to SeaWorld San Diego, this should look very, very familiar.
Yeah. I also love that you kind of get some reflection too. It's like,
yeah, like if you back up a little bit and kind of look at the way it's shadowing on the ground there, I think that might be some of my favorite part too.
Oh yeah, love that. And we talk about this all the time. Like, Planet Zoo is just not a game that has a ton of life and movement unless you actually have some moving animals in there. So it's always nice to like play around with shadows and something to just break up like these big huge paths.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you have filled these with some of the Aquaria pack, that mod pack, which is so cool.
Yep. So this one has Blue Ribbon Ill, I think is Blue Ribbon Stingray, I think is what those are. And then the Horseshoe Crab.
Love it.
Which is cool. I mean, for some reason, I feel like horseshoe crabs are just like nasty to me. I wouldn't want to touch one, but I could see why others would.
Yeah, and they do have horseshoe crabs there to touch, and I'm always just like, ugh.
Yeah, no thanks. They look like big old like water fleas or like water ticks to me. I'm not interested. But a fun fact: did you know that horseshoe crab's blood is blue?
Oh,
crazy!
Interesting. Right? That is very crazy. See, even more like alien, like just even more reason not to touch them.
And I think they're one of the oldest like living species in the world or something. They're like super, super old.
They look like it for sure.
These just have some like standard rays in them. I would definitely touch these.
Yes. And these they look so good too.
Oh, they look amazing.
Yeah. I mean, even getting these like water in here, these are all modded water pieces, and it's like they blend together so well. They move. It's really nice. Like, I know a lot of people are like really against using mods, but it's like, man, when you get really good mods like this, like it's hard not to,
Yeah, I mean they allow, if you're playing the game from like a creative aspect, like modding to me is a must because it just extends that creativity.
Absolutely. Especially for our park where most of these animals
most of it is implied.
Right, almost all of it. So it's nice to be able to use mods, which you're going to see a lot of mods, a lot of moving mods later on.
One thing that I also thought was cute was like using if you go look at like the trash bin for the hand wash station, of course people suck and they just like don't get the bin every time. So we've like littered it up a little bit.
Oh yes.
Assuming that like there was like a high amount of traffic that came through here and it hasn't been cleaned up yet.
Yes, and it's crazy how versatile these like little, what are these, just like rope knots or something?
Yeah, they're like some rope knot of some sort.
Yeah, it's lovely that like Haribo will make horses out of these, and we are literally making trash.
Literally.
But yeah, no, this looks great. You did an awesome job with this area, and honestly, all I did with this middle area was like landscaping, and I think I did some of like the rock work and this logo, but that's about it. Like everything was very so it looks great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we also have a preview of the elephant.
It's been like looming in the back the whole time.
Literally. I think we're just so used to it that I wasn't even saying anything about it. But yeah, we're gonna obviously take a look at that very soon.
Yeah, we'll get over there.
Yeah, are we ready to move on to our next area? Yeah,
I think so.
All right, so let's go down this way. This is basically the same. We have just re-landscaped and I guess it's not the same. We've done a lot of different things. Before, there used to be like a bathroom. Do you remember this? There used to be a bathroom here.
Yeah, it's from Legoland.
Yes, and it's very usable. So we'll put it somewhere else. Yeah. But we actually decided to make this break in half. So this will end up going, I mean, you're about to see, but it kind of goes to like another part of the park. But we kind of wanted to show off, a more like defunct area of the park. So are we assuming that this was like an old exhibit called Sequest, and it's just like it's either like storage now or staff area? What are we thinking that this is?
So what I've basically, it's an administrative building at this point. So like maybe they keep the holiday decorations in there. Maybe the park, the general manager of the park has an office in there. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, what it would have existed as before would have been just like a very small, like probably like a cold water aquarium, because the exhibit on the back of it was intended for penguins, which we'll see in a little bit. That's been like totally defunct.
Totally.
But yeah, I would assume it's just a spot for them to store miscellaneous things and like maybe house an office or two in there, a cubicle.
Right. Yeah, correct. Let's go ahead. We can go and check out that little defunct area back here. I don't think we've shown this off at all. But this is that little, defunct area that would have been the penguins, and I love this area because it just feels so it feels so old, so neglected.
Well, I love that they just didn't close it off altogether. It's very much obvious that there's nothing here, but it's like you can still kind of walk through that area, which I think is cool because it connects to other areas of the park as well.
Right.
So yeah, this would have been where like there would have been like a small penguin exhibit before, and it was intended that they could go underneath the path and even get to that other area to the left.
Yes.
But it looks very old and like not up to code, and like if there were actual penguins in here right now, like I feel like any like activist would have a huge problem with it. And just to kind of give you like a timeline of things, like this would have closed down and become defunct as they started to migrate all of these exhibit animals and stuff over to what will be the new like Arctic area probably. So yeah, that's kind of the storyline behind this.
Yeah, and we do have plans for like an Arctic area. So I mean, whether or not we actually do it, we do have plans for it.
I mean, one thing too, like since we're kind of on that topic, is even with the release of like Planet Coaster 2 coming up, you and I still very much have a passion for Twin Palms. So I truly believe that it will continue to get. I wanted to say updated regularly, as if I just had the audacity to say that when we have not put an episode out in 2 years, but in the realm of what we're working on it now, I don't see that changing.
Like, we hold this park, and it sounds dumb because it's literally a game, but we hold this park very near to our hearts because it's kind of like also like the start of our friendship. So this is something that like we wouldn't ever say like we're done with Twin Palms. Like, yeah, it might not ever like get like another episode or whatever, but we're not gonna say like this is like we're done with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So to bring you around, kind of give you guys like an idea of where we are in the park. We are back by like the dolphin exhibit is over here, and then we have what was this called? Was it like fins or something
fins,
in the reference? Yeah. But
it's like a little quick service restaurant.
Yep. And so I don't think I've ever showed off this area either. Which is insane. So before, this was like all lined with like umbrellas, and I think we had, Josh, do you remember we had like a drain, like a natural water reservoir over here?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah. And we kind of just made it a spot.
God, that feels like a lifetime ago.
It kind of was. So yeah, we updated it and put some stuff over here. We won't bore you with all of this stuff because I feel like we've spent like 3 episodes with this building, but this is where we, the last episode 2 years ago is where we did the new turtle exhibit. So that's just to kind of give you guys an idea of, where we are in the park. So yeah, we'll go ahead and kind of come back this way. This is the back of that Sequest building. Also, how dare I not talk about the Sequest logo?
Beautiful logo. It's one of my favorite things I've made in this game.
That's so rude of me. And again, I think it's just because I have seen this so many times that it literally just feels at this point like it's a piece in the game, but it's not, even though it looks like it. And that just goes to show how good this piece is. Tell us about the creation of this.
So Sequest is like a real place. So I basically just took this logo and imported it into Planet Zoo. This is made out of about, I think it's like 1,300 aquatic fence post pieces. But it was originally intended, Sequest was intended to be the aquarium inside of Broadwell. but then I also have to come to terms with the fact that I am like absolutely dragging my feet on Broadwell. So like if I ever wanted it to actually, if I wanted this logo to actually see the light of day, I'm like, I have to use it somewhere in Twin Palms. We had just done the turtle exhibit. I knew I didn't want to do like a full blown like aquarium again. So I thought it would be a cool, just like a repurposed building that they just kept the logo on there because it's a cute logo and they probably spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah, correct. No, this is great, and it's definitely one of like the best logos I've seen in the game. It's very, very clean. Like you can zoom in on it and it still looks clean. So that's how you know it's good. But yeah, beautiful work on the actual building too. What was this? What reference?
I'm trying to remember. I can't. It may have been something from SeaWorld Orlando, maybe.
Okay.
To be honest, I can't remember. It was a direct reference from somewhere. So if somebody recognizes it, and please put it in the comments. But I think I made this like close to 2.5, 3 years ago, so I can't remember.
It was a long.
It was made way before the last episode of Twin Palms, so at least like 2.5 or 3 years. I
want to take everyone down this way because landscaping is new.
Yeah.
We both kind of love using these like paths, not as paths and as like, ground textures. So we've done that here. I really love using like this like mulch texture. This is a modded path, but I love it.
Yeah.
Decided to bring this little curved tile wall over on this side of the park too. We have it on the other side by the turtles, but it was kind of nice to just bring it over here. And then up there is backstage of Clearwater Cafe. And we get a really great look at, I guess we can talk about the name of it now.
Yeah.
Do you want to say the name? You can go ahead.
So this is our version of Electric Eel. Electric Eel at SeaWorld San Diego is a Skyrocket 2, but this is a brand new, almost said prototype, but it's actually being installed at Six Flags Over Georgia currently. But this is the Intamin Ultra Surf. So if you are familiar with, anybody may have probably seen the renders for Georgia Surfer, which is currently being built. But this is basically a carbon copy of that, just recolored to like a SeaWorld style color palette.
Right. So we do need to talk about the track, because before we had this actual in-game track, you did do a crazy thing and you built an entire track out of like pieces.
Yeah. So the original, this is actually an in-game track piece. It's just, I've used a mod to basically, it's that ugly ass like suspended transport ride or whatever.
Right.
The mod, which thank goodness Haribo pointed it out to me, but you can basically flip that track 180 degrees and get what looks like it looks like a B&M track, so it's not really like an Intamin style track. The custom track that I made before was much more on brand with like what the actual Intamin track looks like, but it was like 20,000 pieces. Yeah, it was made exclusively out of ceiling fan poles and European hinge pieces. So in my opinion, the original track looked better, but this was gonna save us a ton of piece count, and I felt like it still looked perfectly fine. Right.
And it did scratch the itch of like just really wanting to have rides in this park, and obviously I know that they're not functional, but just adding like these to the skyline like just makes a huge difference.
I mean, for years SeaWorld Entertainment has been transitioning from breeding and keeping large marine mammals, and obviously they need something to still attract guests, so they've been slowly transitioning into adding, in my opinion, really great coasters over the last couple of years, and that's kind of sprawled out along their whole entire little network of parks. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just natural for us to add some rides into Twin Palms as well.
This whole area was very much like jAsh's creation, and I just kind of came in, and it was very much a collaboration, I think, but it was more like you took the lead on it. A lot of the building was jAsh, and I just kind of came in and like nudged and moved certain things around, and I did like this rock work and landscaping. But a big portion of it was kind of like your idea. So you actually created this logo, which is another beautiful design.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the Electric Eel logo from SeaWorld San Diego. It sits more, it's like more vertical facing whenever you see it in real life. But the rendition, I had initially made it that way, but I just wasn't. You're much better when it comes to like rock work and foliage, and I wasn't convinced with the rock work that I had before. And then you came, you turned it on its side, literally. And then you layered these like this 3 different types of rocks, where it's like the ice rock, the brown rock, and then I think the what is that, like the taiga or whatever rock?
Taiga, yeah.
And then you added like some of the barnacles and stuff on it. It really turned out great.
It was really cool, kind of like going off of stuff that you already did and kind of making everything blend together. So we'll take a look at this when we come back around.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and go into the actual plaza. Love that you kind of like go under here and you get like just like this really cool look at everything. You have like this exhibit that we're gonna be seeing shortly, and then just like you get to just come in here. You're like a little bit immersed for a little bit. You see this side.
It feels very new to me, which is what I wanted. Yes. And I don't, you and I actually went to Carowinds recently, which was a blast. I got to mark 3 bucket list coasters off my list.
Yes.
But if you remember, do you remember when we were leaving the park? We literally walked right under like one of the lowest sections of Fury 325.
Yes.
And I was like, holy shit, how can it go that fast? I imagine that's kind of like the same feeling you get right here, because when it crosses over this airtime hill, like at its highest speed, it's like hauling ass. It's doing like 55 plus miles per hour. So I imagine that the path interaction is a lot of fun, and like the vibe would just be like really cool and intense. So this building, the photos, the gift shop, and the lockers is based off of, it's kind of like a more elongated version of the actual Electric Eel one at SeaWorld San Diego. I've kind of changed up the placement of things and rearranged it a bit, but like the design and the stylization of the building is very much a rip off from that. I mean, down to like the shape of the signage that says gifts and lockers and stuff. So
literally,
one of the things that I love the most though, is that you actually enter this building twice. So you enter it from the left from the regular queue, and then you're forced to exit through the gift shop, which I think is cool because naturally you're going to want to stop and pick items up. You can also see your on-ride photo from this building as well. So there's going to be a lot of interaction like right here in the plaza. And I think that it's exactly what I wanted it to look like.
We did have to finagle a lot of things because I think you had built this, and I think for a while we just didn't really know where exactly to put it and where to line it up with. But I think like what we came up with,
I'm so happy with the finished product. Like I wouldn't want it anyway. And it was actually your idea to basically angle this building in this direction, which completely, like sometimes I just need you to like push me a little bit, because had you not done that, it wouldn't have exited through the gift shop correctly. It wouldn't, the queue wouldn't have run through the left side of it. Like it all worked out exactly how it was supposed to.
Right. It's just about creating flow, and sometimes you just have to like, spin things the other way to make it make a little bit more sense. But it looks great. This little wait time, it's such a good little touch. And And this is like one of those cool modded pieces from the Aquaria pack.
So if you have like a fast pass, you would skip the portion that we just walked through. You would actually just enter right here on the right hand side. So you see like a little chartreuse colored flag. Those flags will notate that's like a fast pass or a fast lane queue or something. But we can continue to walk through the standard queue because we're peasants.
Yeah, we're peasants today. And apparently so is my computer. It's chugging right along. I love this feeling. This is very much the vibe of Electric Eel's queue.
Yeah.
And I love that you were kind of able to replicate that vibe.
Yeah, like the queue in Electric Eel at SeaWorld, it feels very like beach dunes and like and stuff like that. So I really wanted to like not reimagine it, but like kind of build off of it a little bit.
Right.
But I'm super happy with the way it turned out.
It also just feels, like you said before, like very new. You know, like it's like the landscaping is very neat. There's not a ton of like overgrowth of anything. You know, it's just very, very.
So you can kind of see from this angle too, like kind of how the fast lane queue works. It basically runs in tandem with this section of the queue. And then it's going to break off up here to the right, and it's going to go back behind this building while the rest of the people would just queue in a much larger like cattle pen style area.
Right. Love this little pond water feature. Which I feel like we're very lucky to actually see it filled with water. I feel like this might be something that would be defunct.
This was definitely only filled with water for like the first 2 or 3 years of operation of this new coaster. Then at some point in time, the pump would have broken and it would just be empty.
Absolutely.
With leaves.
Yeah. The detail of these corner covers or whatever these would be called is insane.
Yeah, I know. I love those. That would almost be like a, just because this is all like plaster work on these walls. So like to keep as people queue over long periods of time, they're going to like pick at it and stuff. This is just to kind of keep the corners from being like totally chipped off and busted. So if you look to the right, that you can see the fast lane queue just goes straight to the exit, which is where those blue handrails are. So like a super quick and easy queue process. And then you have a pretty standard queue for the remainder of this area.
Yep. And then we kept landscaping pretty, it's pretty,
Yeah, it's pretty tame. I mean,
yeah.
The focus at this point of the queue is like watching people go up and down this vertical spike. And if you're like Remnant and I, your hands are probably starting to sweat a little bit. But there's no turning back.
Yeah.
At least not for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say speak for yourself. But I mean, I was brave for the most part. I love this little peak. This just feels so like correct and so plausible. Like with all of this like retaining wall and just how it's there's no theme at all over here. It's just generic.
No. This is generic roller coaster. I was really pleased with like the actual support structure on the coaster. So those are just like art shaped pieces with the European hinge to create the bolts. Kind of piece heavy, but like not as bad as you would think. I love like right there where it kind of connects those two. The footers themselves are like in-game concrete pieces. And then what I use to make like the taller bolts is just like the tip end of, I think it's like a broomstick or something.
How long would you say that like doing the supports on this took?
A couple of hours. I mean, this was, me, like when I really get passionate about something, like I can hammer it out like pretty quick. True. And since it's kind of like a copy and paste on both sides, I really just had to make like one side of the supports and just copy it over to the other side.
One of my favorite parts of this queue is that it goes...
Definitely my favorite part of the queue.
Yes, it goes over this part, which can you imagine just like having to like stand here for a little bit and like
as it just blows wind past your face. Yeah. I was just going to say the station itself is a direct replica of well, most of it, about 3/4 of it, is just a direct replica of Infinity Falls at SeaWorld Orlando. And I was initially going to make it as like a rapids ride, which is what Infinity Falls is. But then Six Flags had just announced Georgia Surfer. And I'm like, I knew at some point in time I wanted something vertical so that we could, have sight lines of it throughout the whole park.
Right.
So it all just kind of fell into place.
And it looks great. I mean, it definitely works as a coaster station as well. I almost feel like it works better. Like, I get that this is for
Low-key.
like a rapids ride. But
Yeah, low-key.
It definitely reads as a coaster station. So it looks amazing. Yeah, so I mean, I'm just kind of taking everyone through, getting onto the ride. We obviously don't have the coaster car because we're not that crazy, but
yeah, I wasn't about to do that.
Yeah, I will say these cubbies are giving me like PTSD of having to like hurry up and put my glasses and cell phone as they're yelling at us to get on.
They're screaming. They're like, if you're not in your seat, you will be left. And we're like, ugh. One thing that I want to point out too, is we have like the actual number for the queue line on the ground of like at the beginning of each of these little cattle pens. So that was pretty cool in my opinion. Even though now that I'm looking at it, it's backwards. So it should read 1 to 8 from left to right because the coaster faces that direction.
Right. You know what? It's okay.
But you get it.
Yeah.
Obviously the fast lane queue, you would just, there would be an attendant there that could either direct you to a seat or you could just pick whatever seat you wanted.
Right.
But you would actually enter from the quick queue, or I don't even know what to call it, the fast pass or whatever. You would enter it from the other side.
From this side, you can see that little
the little marker.
Well, beautiful job on this. I mean, this is insane. I haven't seen anything like this in Planet Zoo, that's for sure. Amazing job, friend. Like, this is so good. It's crazy.
Yeah, thank you so much. I took a lot of pride in that, so I was very excited to make it and show it to you guys.
Right, even though, you know what? I will say, this area, like, it did come together, like, rather quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so. Love this little
quick little gift shop. Nothing crazy. Just a spot to grab some merch and
your photos.
Your photos would, ideally be displayed on those screens, and you could purchase one if you'd like.
Mm-hmm. I dig.
Ask Remnant. I always purchase the photos.
You do. Love these floating mugs. Just kidding.
Oh no. Oops.
I won't highlight that.
They're magic mugs. But yeah, that's pretty much Electric Eel. Yeah.
Insane. And let's kind of take a look at like all of this Electric Eel area.
This is the splashdown. So like we do have it marked on the ground here. Obviously you can see the ground is wet. But this is the splash zone. So this is where, there would be like water effects, as the train passes through, that would probably get the people standing here watching more wet than the actual riders. I think that's, from my understanding, that's the intention of the ride, because there's no actual water in the reservoir where the train passes through. It's all like water jets and stuff that would splash you.
And then we have another little, not another, we have our first little set of small little counter service stalls, which are really cool. This is
so these would have been conceptualized obviously around the same time that they did the touch pools at the front, so just to kind of tie in that motif throughout the park as well.
Yep. Yeah, and this is something that we're gonna we're gonna kind of put all throughout the park, which is so nice to have. Very much an update from like the tiny frozen ball ones that we were using before, which are still great. Like, honestly, it's just nice to kind of have something else to use as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Over here is a nice little plaza where you can watch the train go by. And after when we wrap up, I'll go ahead and go to this side over here and kind of show off that, and we'll end the episode over there.
Cool, yeah.
But I thought we would go ahead and go over this way, because it leads us to...
This is your pride and joy.
So this is something that like has been conceptualized in my mind for like a long time, but I just didn't know if I'd be able to do it in game, just because the game is so finicky, and it's just, you know,
it's very limiting, especially the fact that you were able to achieve this is honestly kind of crazy to me.
And you know, I will say like something that I love about Planet Zoo is like, you know, when you add animals, it does feel very alive. And so something that I really wanted to do for this shark encounter exhibit was to make it functional. And so the fact that, you know, we were kind of able to do that is like a big deal in my opinion. I guess, you know what, before we go in, let's like take I love this little view of,
yeah, this is cool,
of Electric Eel. Love that this is like elevated up here.
Yep.
And I can just imagine this being like filled up with people. Like that's one of the reasons why I hate that this isn't functional. Obviously the ride isn't working, but just seeing people line up here would be really cool.
Yeah, agreed. You ended up placing an Electric Eel sign on this side too.
Oh,
just
correct.
in case you come from this angle as well, which was, I didn't even think about that. So that was a really cool way to kind of tie the whole plaza together.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, we can't just assume everyone would come in from this way. And this also makes it seem, it doesn't even seem like an afterthought. This also seems like a really well thought out entrance as well. So
yeah,
I
sure.
dig how this came out. So this is the shark encounter. And it is very much based off of SeaWorld San Diego's shark encounter. It's, I mean, jAsh, you can kind of like talk about going in there too, but it's very, I don't know how to explain it. It's a very like eerie feeling walking in there. Because it's like, yeah. It's a little, it's not crazy dark, but it's like weird feeling. And I really wanted to try and see if I could do that in game. And I think that we were able to achieve that for the most part.
You were able to achieve that for the most part.
Okay, well, you did help with like the inside of like the tank and stuff, and helping me with like the reefs and all that stuff. But
if you say so.
Obviously here, this is under construction. Something big dropping this fall.
Literally.
Yeah. So, I mean, this has been here for ages. We just, we moved it over here. But let's go ahead. I love that
people have like parked their strollers out there too.
Right. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of walk in here. So this outer area, you can kind of see how it slowly, makes its way uphill, and it'll kind of make sense soon as to why it does that. But I do love how you can see the exit path already.
Yeah, that's
from
cool.
Here. Yeah.
And again, just to kind of touch like the way that you said the queue, like being filled up with people, the interaction here of like seeing people exit and stuff would be really cool too.
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, this would actually, if we opened up the park, we would see people walking here because it's an actual exhibit. So
yeah.
Yeah, but again, this is kind of based off of SeaWorld San Diego's shark encounter. I love kind of like this little this little stream. It's little stuff like just like this the source of from where the stream is coming from. Like, I don't know why that stuff like makes me like so excited.
Yeah, same.
But I also love that you can see like the exit queue or the exit path here still. Not us like not even entering the exhibit yet, and we're like already stopping.
It's so good though.
Yeah. I mean, I did spend a lot of, I mean, and you've seen already, like I've changed and rechanged all of this landscaping. So finally landed on something that I enjoy. We have another fountain up here. Yeah, I imagine this kind of, is what feeds this pond over here. Yeah, and then we have some of these signs over here. I don't think that you've seen this yet. This is what I told you I haven't.
No. Yeah, this looks cool.
Cool. Yeah, so wait, this is just...
What is that behind the mesh?
It's a billboard. I took a picture of the water.
Oh, that looks so cool.
Yeah, I just like went underwater at night and like had like lined up like the moon. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously this is kind of, talking about there's 400 plus species of sharks. The the deepest one, or there's a species that can go 60,000 feet deep. So just kind of like little facts like that. And this one again kind of has the same, the same kind of thing.
Very cool.
Yeah. We have a little backstage thing over here.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can go ahead and we're finally entering in. I mean, we can already feel the mugginess. We can smell
it.
The water.
Smell the smells.
Yeah, all the smells. So this logo is actually, it's outside as well, but this is like another variation of it. Did the same thing. This is based off of the logo from the shark encounter in Florida. I really liked it a lot more actually than the one that's in San Diego. So I wanted to do this. This is the same pieces that jAsh used on the Sea Quest logo. And then this is just one of Christina's like tiny fonts, which I love using wherever I can.
Nice.
And then these are just a bunch. These aren't art shapes. It's like that wave sign that you can like put text on. But I just love using that wherever I can, just because I like the texture on it. This exhibit has seen better days, you know.
Organic growth, the house down boots.
Yes, very much. So let's go ahead and go on in. All right, cool. So we have, a little bit of a lighting change. Right. Yeah. So we have a little bit of that eerie feeling, right? Something that I love about this exhibit specifically is it is indoors. It is quite obviously indoors. But they decided to go with the sunset motif, which I think is so funny. And that they didn't just make it like, we're just like in this indoor exhibit now. They kind of wanted to still keep it outdoorsy, which is so funny to me. So before we look at what's over here, again, this is just, some shark facts. I really, really wanted to try and implement billboards into this exhibit, and something that I really wanted to do is actually take in-game pictures and not
That's
just
so
like
cool.
use stuff that I found like online. So all of this was taken in-game. I intentionally put like the flash on to make it look like I mean, I feel like that's just like something that you see in like these aquariums. Like they just don't care. They don't care about the quality sometimes, which is crazy to me.
The flash on that hammerhead though is so abrasive.
It's so abrasive, but that's literally
and
like
it kind of scares me.
it's terrifying. So yeah, I mean, that's something that I really wanted to kind of put in there. I feel so bad for this fish that got like a flash.
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's giving like when Nemo was taken in the movie, and then like I think they did a flash and like it scared off like it confused his dad. It's very much giving that. What would this be called?
Like an audio guide, I guess.
Yeah, audio guide. And I kind of slapped it on this little shark fin. And
at this point, I mean, I guess it's kind of safe to assume that the whole park has this feature. So like all of your main indoor exhibits would have this opportunity to, and you would be provided with this either on your ticket or in your little brochure that you grab at the front, where you could find there would be a way to listen to all of this audio.
Right. I would almost assume in like the modern age that we live in now, it would be like a feature that could be like accessed on an app or something where you can maybe,
for sure.
Where
like maybe in the 90s there was somebody at the door handing you a headset if you wanted to listen to it.
Right.
Now it's all been moved to an app.
Correct. And honestly, now this just might be defunct. Like this might not be
might not
anything.
even work.
Right. So
Love that.
All right. So over here we have, I believe these are the white tip reef sharks.
Those are white tip reef sharks.
Yeah, and I mean it's a little finicky. Like you just saw this one literally go into the ground. But this was such a hard thing to do. This was such a hard exhibit to create. So these sharks, they basically stay up here. They don't go down into the main exhibit, and I kind of made it that way. I kind of made it only be traversable over here for them, just so that they stay over here.
They're mostly like shallow swimmers anyways. I mean, they're going to be in like the shallows of the coral reefs.
Right.
So I feel like that's on brand for them.
Right. And I will say, like, it's supposed to look like they have access to this entire thing, but just to make them stay up here, I did kind of like, finagle it in a way that they would just kind of stay up here. But I love this little like view.
It feels almost like a little lagoon. This is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Over here we have a little educator. I'm sure she would like, her voice would just be like, you can hear her voice throughout the entire exhibit.
Yeah.
I love how dim it is in here, and I love how like you kind of can only see like the background. She's not even lit that much, so but that's kind of what I wanted. Also, all of these plants in here are like fake. We're just to assume that these are all fake, because there's no way that these will be able to grow
Yeah.
in the dark.
And I hope they're like dusty too, you know what I mean?
Oh yes, dusty. They probably stink. They probably have so many like diseases just like laying on them.
Salmonella just hanging out on the leaves.
Yep, very much like destroyed by the salt in the exhibit.
Yes.
Yeah, so as we walk down here, this is another little sign. This one's actually cool, but it has a live view of the kind of like the top of the tank, and it kind of shows what's to come with like the underwater tunnel, which is really cool.
Nice.
Kind of just talks about, I'm sure this talks about, the tunnel.
Yeah.
We're just to assume that it's talking about what's to come. And the like an underwater world kind of shows like that you're going to be able to go under as well.
Yeah.
Something that's really satisfying to me is how this path kind of goes down, but this water level stays the same.
Yeah, I like that.
This is one of my favorite views. I just love like a top-down view of a tank. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
It's just like it's kind of a whole different world looking at it from above. And I love that we're kind of able to get that view up here before, taking a peek at, underneath the water.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's cool to like see people walking down there too whenever you're at like the surface level.
Yes, it is cool because it gets you really excited for going down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of love like the eerie like silhouettes of these like sharks.
It looks really rad when you're looking at it from below. But I do like it's almost like you get like a different feel and vibe from like the underwater viewing and then the surface level viewing.
Right.
So it's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving.
Right. Yeah. And like we love to kind of put like, I wouldn't consider this a sightline, but it gets you very excited to know that you can go in this. So
yeah.
So let's go ahead and continue. So this now, like all of this path is now kind of going downward. And this is to get us back underneath water level so that we can go in that tunnel. So I added, a cute little waterfall here, adds a little bit of movement.
I love these path lights too. Like the uplights on the rockwork looks cool. Yeah.
Yep. This is new. I know I showed you something completely different at your house. But this is new. I kind of wanted to include one of these like actual like prop pieces in here. Yeah. I can imagine, obviously you can like touch it or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's different too seeing it in the water versus like actually seeing. You can walk right up to like the actual size of it, which would be a cool experience.
Yeah. And this is just like, I mean, I imagine this to just be like probably chipped with paint and
for sure. Maybe some gum stuck to it.
Yeah. Definitely not as pristine looking as this. But this is cool because this is just another view into that tank, and it just goes to show like how much that path has actually come down, because now we have a really nice like midsection view of it. And again, we have some like really not great pictures of these animals in pictures. Here. Very
intrusive pictures.
Very intrusive pictures. And jAsh very much helped me like with the inside of this, because that's something that's obviously not my forte, and you are a reef keeper in real life, and so this was like really cool to have you kind of fill up and help on.
My pleasure, friend.
Yes, I mean, we still got a lot more to look at. So when you take a look around here, one of my favorite parts about this exhibit in real life is this little like tide pool.
Mine too.
That's there. It kind of like breaks up some of the stuff in the middle. So we don't have exactly what they have there. I think they have like little like bamboo sharks or something.
Yeah. So the first time you and I went together, they had like a harem of clownfish in there.
Yes.
And then I was kind of shocked to see that they had changed it up the last time that we went.
In just like a matter of like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
this
we kind
really
of have...
cool,
oh my god, not me choking. Wait 1 second.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so I think these are zebra sharks, I believe. And what's actually cool about this exhibit is there's not actually water in here. These are just water effects
cool.
that I put on the side just because I wasn't able to actually get water in here.
That sand is top notch, though.
Correct. So this sand is actually a path, and it's from a modded path pack. I'm trying. I don't know exactly.
You guys are missing out on these mod pieces.
Yeah,
man.
I'm sorry. Like, you know, if you're gonna get mods, get this path pack and like free build. Sure. And I think you'll be golden.
It allows you to do. I mean, the fact that you even thought to use the paths here is kind of crazy. But it's exactly what you need it to look like. Like there is no better option. There wouldn't be a better option. This looks exactly like ocean floor sand, even down to like the movement of the water has created these little dunes and stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, and can we talk about? I mean, the textures on this is insane. It's literally working with the lighting as well, which is like insane. Like I don't even get how they did it, because it's like it's
kind of bananas, because it's a very flat like image on a path, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so bravo. But yeah, as we make our way around here, we have like a backstage access here, lots of grunge being used, and I love how this looks right here when you can see like this path coming down cool. Here. You have a look at like what's actually lighting up all of this stuff. You have and like the air ducts.
Vent registers. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's really just a big huge concrete plaster building that's just been filled with all of this stuff. So let's go ahead and continue as we get even deeper, going over to that tunnel. So this kind of rock vibe continues over here. So these are just like shells in game, but they're meant to look like fossilized shark teeth that are like in the rocks. That's the best that I could do. I couldn't find any other piece.
Hey, it works.
Okay,
I think it looks
good.
Cool.
Okay, so I decided to put some of these other signs here to kind of give off the idea like, yes, you are indeed looking at shark teeth.
And if you weren't sure, here's a dental X-ray of a resident great white shark.
Yep. We definitely have this on property. Yeah, and as we keep going, this kind of alludes to the fact that we're going to be able to see sharks from this angle underwater. And then this is the last look at the cool. world. Yeah, the shark encounter up here. So something that I love about SeaWorld San Diego's exhibit is right when you get over here, there is a stark change in like in the aesthetics of it all. And I just really wanted to do something similar. This is not, I did not go off of a reference for this. The only thing I went off of a reference for was what this actually says, like sharks come in all shapes and sizes. How do you measure up? That's something that I got from, I think, the shark encounter in Florida. But I did set up my own little studio in game and put all of these like prop pieces and just took some pictures. I put like
That's
I
bananas.
want so basically if you stand next to this, I think that this might be the size of like maybe a little taller than a kid. I couldn't get it to match exactly, but the idea is that you stand here and you get to see how big all these sharks are compared to you.
Crazy.
And I thought that it was just a cool way to dress up this like long hallway, which otherwise would just kind of be like this.
Blank, yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
We love a mural.
We love a mural. We love an educational mural that is peeling at the sides. It was just stuck on there. This was not painted. This was. We also love that it's
just like
pixelated.
A sticker on the wall. Yeah.
Yes, it's a sticker for sure. I love just like the texture of it. Like it reads very much like that. Yeah. So just played a lot with like the lighting in here. But this vibe is exactly like what I wanted it to look like, and I'm really happy that it kind of turned out.
Yeah, I love this
that way.
I love the roof too, like the waves or the ripples, or ripple effect or whatever that is. Looks cool.
These are just those signs again that you can like put text on.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, we have some directional signs to the shark tunnel to keep going this way. Love also how this is completely different than what we just walked through.
Cool. This feels very futuristic.
So this is kind of like a direct rip as well from SeaWorld San Diego, but it also reminds me of like going onto like Space Mountain or something at Disneyland. So this is another live feed into the tank that we're about to go in.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. But just before we go into there, we have this little random like megalodon room.
Very cool.
So I imagine these playing like some sort of really outdated documentary or something about the megalodon. The reason why I put this room in here is because at SeaWorld San Diego they have this kind of like at the exit of the exhibit, and you kind of just like walk past it, and it's kind of sad. And also because in our exit I wasn't really able to fit it, so I really wanted to put that in this little circle room here.
I love this.
Yeah. I also feel like I definitely pulled a jAsh.
I love how it's bolted to the wall.
Yeah, it's bolted.
Jeez. That's the sturdiest fossilized mouth I've ever seen.
Correct. And I mean, we can probably say that this isn't even like a real.
Right. It's like
I feel like it's probably
fiberglass.
Yeah, or like a mold. Like it was taken from a cast. But yeah, this isn't going anywhere.
What's on the roof here? It's like water. This is so cool.
This is the same picture that I used as the background of those information boards, like at the very beginning outside of the exhibit. Very cool. Yeah. So again, just kind of lined it up with like the moon, and took a picture. God. And it was my original intention to use these in this room specifically. And very I just put like a little paint filter on it, and I think it really gave off like a cool vibe.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, I love how like the lights like reflect on it and stuff. This room was very satisfying to me. I really love how it came out.
Very correct.
Yeah, I really dig it. Yeah, and then so kind of like the main reason why people come to this exhibit is to go through here. I will say this is a little bit finicky. Yeah, right there. Like that's like right where you enter the water. So technically we're also underwater, but we don't need to, we don't need to think about that.
What water? I don't see any water.
Correct, right? Free build is a great mod because it lets you build all of this stuff underwater, and it's still very functional. So people can walk around down here. There's usually like workers walking around down here, but today it's just us. But yeah, it's so great looking at like all of these animals. Yeah. Like
I love the light beaming through right there.
Isn't that insane? Yeah. It's just, yeah, it's so cool.
It literally looks like the moon or something, like peeking through the water. Is that where you took the photo?
Yeah. And honestly, I will say, I think that this is the in-game moon. Because it is, I did turn the lights off, and like, I think when you're inside, when you're inside, it doesn't read. Like if you're underwater, it doesn't read that there's anything over, but it kind of works. Like we can just say that this is like,
yeah, it looks great.
Yeah,
it's very intentional.
So we did kind of include some kelp forests in here, which are, you know, kind of native to the West Coast. So I felt like I really wanted to add some of that in here. Yeah, so this basically, you're on like, you know, like a moving like conveyor belt, so this would obviously keep moving. But I really, really love how this came out. Up here, all this rock work here, this is where you're walking along when you first enter. So you can kind of, you know, finally see the other side of it.
Very, very well done.
Thank you.
The tunnel itself is cool too.
So this tunnel, I mean, you know, like we've had this, I feel like this has been a prototype since like before 2022. Like I feel like we've had this built, and it's been forever since we've like, you know, since we've built it. And so finally implementing it into this exhibit was really cool. I feel like we had talked about a shark exhibit for the longest time, and we were never able to land on like what exactly we wanted. So I'm glad that we finally have something like in the park, something that like looks really great, something that I don't think I'm going to change. I'm really happy with it.
I hope not.
Oh my God.
It looks amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm really proud of it. And I'm happy that it's functional, which is something that's like hard to achieve in this game. Anyone that plays this game knows that.
I would not have made it functional.
Yeah, so this last room, again, is just another big vinyl sticker mural that just, again, has a bunch of shark facts. I'm assuming that this one would be more about like conservation, especially like as you're exiting the exhibit. I'm sure they would really want to like talk about like what you can do on our end when it comes to you know, the sharks and saving them and stuff. So we have another final look into the exhibits, and also a Twin Palms Tide Talk, which is a playoff of TED Talk. And this is just a live feed of that girl that was talking up there. If I really had a lot of time on my hands, I would have created like a little video of her talking, but you know, don't really have that time right now. But yeah, this is just basically another look into that tank. I love that you can see that tunnel right there. And again, it's really cool when there's just, you know, people walking through there, and you get another look at this nurse shark. And I think that there's some other like white tip reef sharks over here, but it's really cool that, you know, this kind of is like it's just functional. It just looks really great. And I'm glad that like everything is just like working really nicely today. You can see one of those like those white tips up there, which is funny.
I mean, honestly, like this turned out better than I had ever anticipated it to.
Same.
Which I never like doubted you. I knew that this was going to be a lot harder to create. Like I knew it was going to be easier said than done. And you've just like completely outdone yourself.
Thank you. I very much appreciate that. Yeah.
And I know you're glad to just be done with it.
I am so glad to be done with this and never look at this ever again. I will say this font is from the Aquaria pack. So did not create this font. It was in that pack. And I think that this is also what we used for like the what's it called? That splash zone area.
Yeah, the splash zone.
Yeah.
It's what's on the ground at Electric Eel. And the numbers. I think I actually used the numbers for this station.
There we go. Yeah, so that's basically it. We have this little fish motif going off this way, and we basically will take
back up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I love that spotlight on the fire extinguisher.
You know,
because it would have to be like that. Like
it has to.
The fire marshal would be pissed if they ever walked down here and that light was out.
I will say this is like one of the things that I've really learned from like doing projects with you specifically is like these little details like this. And I'm sure that there's so many more that I can put, but you know, I think I was like kind of getting ideas from that aquarium that we did a long time ago, and you just totally added like a lot of details like this, so I had to make sure to kind of implement that as well. But yeah, are we good in here? Are we done?
I think so.
Okay.
Bravo.
Thank you so much, and sayonara to this exhibit.
Smell you later.
Yeah, honestly. So this just
Truly.
goes back out here. Truly. Let me go ahead. I will change the lighting and then cut it in post.
Okay. Oh my god.
In post.
It's fucking crazy.
What the fuck? Okay. There we go. All right. And then it just leads us right back out here. Takes us back up to regular elevation. This is actually a cool hack that you did. This is like a track, right?
Yeah, so this is using the same method that we used for the roller coaster track. I think this one is I think it's like a boat ride or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you flip it right side up, it has like a single rail on top of it, so they're just flipped upside down, and I think I stacked like 3 or 4 of them together. But this one also works really good if you want to do like quick, easy custom curbing. The only thing is I think this is as tight of a turn as you can do with it. Because they only go down to like 4-meter pieces.
Well, and it's just so nice because, I mean, this is just one whole piece, you know, rather than using like hundreds of little curb pieces.
Correct.
But yeah, and then it just brings us back out to this little plaza. And, you know, again, we get a beautiful view of Electric Eel. I'm going to bring us around here. We can kind of talk about some of this landscaping over here. Again, it's nothing crazy. I just kind of want
I mean, it's just kind of that filler palette that you've created. Very lush, different colors of greens. Just because that is how it is at SeaWorld for real. It's a lot of green plants.
Yeah, and very manageable. I would say like this doesn't require a huge amount of like maintenance, maybe just the flowers. But everything else is just kind of like stuff that's just like, you know, meant to just be like trimmed every now and then. Love this little backstage port entry.
We can go back there and show them there's like a catwalk area for them to get down and like service the launch or the coaster if they need to.
So good. Oh, I love that it's like wet
it's
down
like
here.
All wet down there, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a kind of a cool view. You can see like we kind of changed elevation or like I guess water levels here. And this is supposed to like look really cool like when it would like splashes over. I would assume like there's like you know, little waterfalls that are created every time there's like a splashdown.
Yeah, it would look really cool.
Yeah. This is lovely. Very realistic. Obviously, this wouldn't have a splashdown because we wouldn't necessarily want this stuff to be submerged in water, right?
No. And I mean, it does have drains down here, so like if the water builds up too much, they can drain it out as well. There's one on the other side too.
Yeah, I would assume that like with every, you know, splash of water that goes into here, I'm sure some like comes into here, so those drains are obviously very important. Yeah, let's go ahead and go out here. We can take a look at this side. I loved kind of like creating these little like viewing areas.
Yeah, I mean, this would be
such a pretty view.
This would be a pretty big attraction for Twin Palms. So it would garner a lot of attention. So I like that everybody's not completely just crowded to look at it from one side. You can really see it from almost every side of the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, I mean, we basically have looked at everything that we have done in the past. I mean, I will say this whole area kind of like came together in maybe 3 months. I feel like this hasn't been a super long time.
Yeah, no, I think you and I started working on Electric Eel and the Shark Encounter. Yeah, about 3 months ago, 3-4 months ago. What
I will say, so you visited me again in June, and I think that us going to SeaWorld again really sparked something. for Twin Palms. And I think like after a little bit, after we got over our our post vacation funk, we wanted to kind of hop into Twin Palms again. And I think we both it was cool. Like we both handed each other the file. There would always be something new here, and then there would always be something new here.
And if you compress this shot right here, I do like that you can see the shark encounter. So it kind of gives you like your next destination point. Right. Which was totally intentional.
Yes. And just seeing all of this is so satisfying. Like seeing like all of this stuff that we put together, like it works so well together.
And I think I told you, like at the time that like Electric Eel became like a concept, I had it up to my eyeballs with Planet Zoo. I'm not a huge zoo person in general.
Right.
I mean, I've become more of one with the release of the game, but I'm like, I am just itching to do something with a roller coaster because that's more my speed. But like, I just don't enjoy playing Planet Coaster 1 anymore. So when I made this, they hadn't even announced Planet Coaster 2 yet. So we're basically witches because it happened with the aquatic pack.
Yeah, true.
And it also happened with the inception of Electric Eel. Now we have Planet Coaster 2 coming.
So you're welcome, basically, is what we're saying.
You're welcome.
But yeah, this was episode 6 of Twin Palms. Well, I'm hoping that there will be an episode 7 one day. I'm sure there will be. I think.
Will it be in 2 years? Maybe.
You know what? Yeah, but we're never going to say it's not coming.
Or it could be in 6 months. Who knows?
True. Or you know what? Maybe even less. But you never know. I will say we really did want to get this episode out before the release of Planet Coaster 2 because I feel like we're both going to be very consumed with that. But I think now with the release of Planet Coaster 2 and Planet Zoo, I think they're now 2 very separate games and we can focus on each of them for what they are.
Agreed.
So, I'm excited to still continue, Twin Palms. Obviously, I'm going to continue Balboa Zoo. And I'm sure you're planning on continuing some Planet Zoo stuff and as well as like, obviously diving head on into Planet Coaster 2. Yeah. But yeah, you guys, I think that's it. Did you have anything else to add, jAsh?
I don't. I mean, I think you and I will have more content coming out in the future. Will it be Twin Palms first? I don't know. But I do know that we have individual projects already planned for Planet Coaster 2 and a joint project planned for
sure
Planet Coaster 2 as well, which is going to be a quick shift, like change of gears from this like Southern California aesthetic, but it's still going to be very much Remnant and jAsh. So I think they'll enjoy that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that this is a good place to end, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for waiting 2 years and still being super excited we're project. We love this project so much. And so we're
I hope that conveys in like what we show. Absolutely.
So this was Twin Palms episode 6. We will see you guys sometime soon in the future, whether it most likely with I'm assuming Planet Coaster or maybe one of our solo Planet Zoo projects. But Twin Palms for a little bit, we'll probably take a little bit of a hiatus, not because of any other reason except for the fact that we're both busy and probably playing Planet Coaster.
Yeah. Also, I've like transitioned into a new role with work, so like my time has been very limited. And I'm very thankful that we've been able to hammer out as much as we have and be able to deliver an episode to you guys. So
for sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much again for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Dumb.
So stupid.
How do I stop recording this? All right. Oh my god, we're only on episode 6.
Yeah, that's fine.
That is fine. You know what? Because each episode is like 2 hours long almost, or something like that.
Right. It's giving docuseries.
Yeah, it's giving long format videos, and there's a niche for that, and people love it.